Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. Today we're going to be reviewing Everton's FA Cup third round victory against Lincoln City at Goodison Park. Now if you see my instant match reaction, you'll have seen that I was a little bit disappointed at the performance. Obviously made up that we managed to get through and that we're in the draw for the fourth round, which obviously takes place tonight at 9:30 after the Liverpool game. So I was a little bit disappointed at how we played overall and the way we approached the game. But obviously I was quite happy with the fact that we won the game, and obviously we progress to the next round. So we'll be talking about my key player in the game. We'll be talking about, everything that happened, the goal we conceded as well. Obviously, we'll speak a little bit about transfers as well. There's been a couple of rumours here and there over the last couple of days regarding some Everton players and regarding some players that Everton may be looking to sign as well. So we'll talk about that all in this live stream. I'm going to be doing another live stream just before we go into this one on Wednesday, which will talk about the transfer rumours fully. It'll be a fully transfer dedicated live stream, and we'll talk about, the Wilmar Barrios rumours, we'll talk about the Idrissa Gana Gueye rumours, Malcolm, all that sort of stuff. So make sure you are subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and make sure you are around at around 6:30, 7 o'clock on Wednesday night to talk about the transfers as well. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more sort of detail into some of these transfers as well, because at the minute a lot of them are just rumour based, a lot of them are just he said, she said sort of situations. So hopefully there's a little bit more context to them, hopefully there's a little bit more meat to some of the rumours, certainly some of the ones of players coming into Everton, and we'll have a discussion about them. So let me just tweet the stream out so everybody on Twitter knows that we are live, so everybody can come and share their views. Quart says, come on you Blues. Yes, definitely, come on you Blues. Massive win that was on Saturday. Like I said, look, I'm not going to hide from it. I'm not going to sit here and say fantastic victory, we were boss, we outplayed them. We didn't. If you see my instant match reaction, which was after the game, you'll see that I thought we were quite poor, to be honest. I thought we were sloppy in midfield. I didn't think Idrissa Gana Gueye done enough. I didn't think Gylfi Sigurdsson done enough. I didn't think Tom Davies took his opportunity. I didn't think Cenk Tosun took his opportunity. I thought overall we were quite poor. Look, we were better than Lincoln, and there's no disrespect to Lincoln. Lincoln are a very good side, obviously top of League 2, and the support was absolutely phenomenal. One thing I will say about Lincoln before we go into this review is that the support is absolutely unbelievable. The amount of fans they brought to Goodison and the noise that they continue to make, and you'd think they'd scored a goal every time the ball went out for a throw-in. So big well done to them, and obviously massive respect to them, and good luck for the rest of the season. But for me, Everton we just weren't on the ball, Saturday was a game where we could have gone out and we could have really shown our dominance as the Premier League team. And I had a couple of comments in my instant match reaction saying, look, we shouldn't have underestimated Lincoln, we shouldn't have disrespected them. I said, I don't think we did. For me, I don't think we did disrespect them, and I'm not saying, these are awful, we should walk through them. What I'm saying is, regardless of whether it's Lincoln or whether it's another team in League 2, we are a Premier League opposition, and they're an opposition of a lower league. We should have been comfortably winning that game, and for me, we didn't comfortably win the game at all. Okay, first 20-25 minutes, we were quite comfortable. Obviously, we were having opportunities. Ademola Lookman had about 3 shots, obviously gets the goal, fantastic header. Bernard gets the second, what a wonderful finish by him as well. But as soon as their goal went in, we again looked to be on the back foot, and I think if they'd have had a little bit more quality up front and a little bit more of a goal scoring threat, then they might have hurt us more than they did. And that's the issue for me. You weren't leaving Goodison Park going, we've done ourselves proud there, hopefully this is the start of a winning run. You were leaving Goodison Park going, phew, thank God for that. That saved an embarrassment, and for me, that was where the issues lied. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit more about that in this team. We'll talk about who's to blame for that. Is that Marco Silva's fault? Is that the players' fault? Who needs to really book their ideas up? Why, we playing teams like Lincoln City, who, like I said, don't get me wrong, are a good team, no disrespect to them, but why are we playing teams of a lower league in the FA Cup at home and still struggling to get through the 90 minutes? Is it a fitness issue? Obviously, we'll speak about that in this video. Suppose what way to start better than to go on to talk about my key player for this game. For me, it was Ademola Lookman. I thought Ademola Lookman, don't get me wrong, he faded in patches and he did sort of fade out the game here and there, but for me, for the majority of the game, I thought he was fantastic. I thought he took his goal really well, one of the smallest players on the pitch, and he's getting up to win a header like that, looping it over everybody, and it blatantly goes in. I've seen it again, it's well over the line, and if it's not over the line, it's a red card for the fella and balling it and punching it out the goal basically. But for me, Ademola Lookman was absolutely fantastic. I think he ran the show. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't the best performance I could have seen from him, but in terms of what we've seen from that right hand side in recent weeks, and that's not a dig at Theo Walcott, that's just me saying from what we've seen in recent weeks on that right hand side, and from the brief appearances that we've seen Ademola Lookman make this season, and in an Everton shirt overall, I think that was definitely one of his best games, and he took it by the scruff of the neck, and I think he was probably one of the only ones that you could say really did grab his opportunity with both hands. And I think for me, he should now go on and play the next few games in the Premier League. You look at the fixtures that we've got Bournemouth, we've got some really winnable games in the next month or so. So this is the time to give Ademola Lookman his run. This is the time to say to him, look, we're going to give you a run out. We're going to let you, run free. Have 5 or 10 games in the Premier League. Show us what you can do. Go and do that every week. Go and cut in. Don't be afraid to shoot with your left foot, with your right foot. Don't be afraid to win headers. And that's what he done on Saturday. And I thought he was absolutely fantastic. Bernard on the other side as well. I thought he played really well. I thought they were the 2 best players on the pitch. Probably the only 2 Everton players that you could say had a really good game, to be honest. Bernard obviously breaking his deadlock of not being able to get a goal and not being able to shoot in the box. Absolutely fantastic finishing. It's a nice little dink over the top of the keeper, and it's a wonderful finish. But other than that, for me, I don't think there was a lot of positives out the game. Obviously, we'll talk about the first half first. The first 20 minutes for me, we were very clearly dominant. I mean, we were clearly dominant for the entire game, I think, but for the first 20 minutes, you were sitting there going, okay, let's hope that this kind of momentum, this tempo, we keep this going for the rest of the game, because we looked like 2-0 up in 15 minutes. Could have been 3-0 up in 20 minutes if Dominic Calvert-Lewin takes his opportunity. Obviously, he goes one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Doesn't quite know which way to go, ends up going the wrong way, tries to take him on, and his shot goes wide. If Dominic Calvert-Lewin had took that chance, would have been 3-0 up in 20 minutes, and it would have been game over, game done and dusted with. But I thought, other than that, in that first 25 minutes, we played well. Like I said, Ademola Lookman was coming onto his left-hand side, having a shot, coming onto his right-hand side, having a shot. He looked hungry, and what we've been lacking for me, really, recently, and I think we've been lacking it all season, is somebody that will just shoot. The amount of times that players get the ball on the edge of the box and you're sitting at Goodison or you're sitting watching it on telly and you're going, just shoot, just have a shot, stop trying to walk it into the back of the net, stop trying to get it on the box, and then if you can't see someone in the box, pass it that way. If you've got the ball on the edge of the box and there's the tiniest of space, have a shot. And that's exactly what, I go back to the Brighton game, that's exactly what we should have done against Brighton a week or so ago, when they had their second keeper in, who'd only played 1 Premier League game this season. He had to deal with 1 cross and he spilt that. All as we should have done then, that game would have been perfect for an Ademola Lookman. And I know he was injured, and I'm not saying, he should have played, it'd have been brilliant for him to come in because he was injured. You can't do anything about that. You can't sit here and say, why hasn't Lookman been playing for the last 3 weeks, Silver, blah, blah, blah. He was injured, he's had an injury. That's something that's out of everybody's control. But for me, it's games like that you should just be hitting balls at the keeper. You should constantly be shooting, and that's what Ademola Lookman brings you, I think. And he certainly showed that in the first 20 minutes on Saturday. He was not afraid to cut inside, shoot from the edge of the box, and a couple went close. Don't get me wrong, I haven't watched them on the replay. The keeper would have probably saved them if they were on target, but if you don't shoot, you don't score. And when you've got the ball on the edge of the box and you're threatening a team and there's no pass available, no forward pass available, don't turn backwards and go back. Don't turn back and go back to the centre half, back to Pickford and start again. Just have a shot. And that's what Lookman done. That's why I was really impressed with Lookman. Don't get me wrong, I said before he had a fantastic performance. I don't think he lit the game up. I don't think you looked at him and you go, wow, you're world class. I think he had a fantastic performance because he showed a bit of willingness to attack, a bit of willingness to get in the right areas and just shoot, and he showed a bit of balls, and that's something that not a lot of our players have shown this season, is to get the ball, run forward and just have a go at goal. And he got his reward obviously with his header. His header was fantastic, let's be honest. Whether it was clear, whether it was handballed off the line, whether it was fluky header, whatever some people want to say on Twitter, it was a fantastic header. He gets under it, he gets it up, he gets it over, and he gets it in the goal, and it's a wonderful goal. And for me, I don't think Marco Silva really has a choice now than to play Ademola Lookman for the next 5 or 10 games, because it's going to do Theo Walcott good, because he's going to get a chance out the team. He's going to get an opportunity to have a couple of games out, get himself fresh again, get his fitness back up, obviously get him out of the massive limelight of he isn't good enough, and get him away from that negativity, sit him on the bench and let fans see Ademola Lookman. Say out to Ademola Lookman, this is your chance now. You've got 5 or 10 games, go out and prove that you should be in the team every week, and fans will enjoy that. Because listen, if you watched Everton on Saturday and you watched Ademola Lookman, a lot of fans have probably been saying, why hasn't this kid been in the team? why isn't he doing it? And don't get me wrong, he does go missing sometimes, and sometimes you do look and you go, he hasn't touched the ball in 15 minutes, but that's a lot of players do that in our squad, and at the end of the day, beggars can't be choosers. And at the minute, if you put Ademola Lookman and Theo Walcott in front of me and you said, at this current minute, who would you rather play on your right-hand side in the Premier League? I'm picking Ademola Lookman, because I think he's got that hunger to snap up his opportunity, and if he's given that opportunity, I honestly think he will do that. Ian says there's not enough partnerships in the 11. Marco isn't sure what his best team is yet. I'm not knocking him. It's still early days, and after Sardon is signing, just so right about shooting, and it's really good to see Lookman doing just that. Thought Baines was man of the match. Yeah, exactly, that's what I mean. I think Marco Silva is sort of still playing around with the 11, still trying to see what his starting 11 is, his best starting 11, and I think that argument's been brought up a lot. I'm glad you mentioned it. It's been brought up a lot in the last couple of weeks. People saying, oh, he's changed it again, he's changed the 11 again, it's a different captain again. Listen, for me, you have to take into consideration, a few factors in changing the 11 constantly, and I don't mean changing it, 8 players. I mean literally, even if he just makes one change, what you'd have to take into consideration is the games that we've played in such a short period of time. There was always going to be changes. Marco Silva was always going to be needing to bring players in and taking players out. That was always going to happen. The fact that he's doing it during this period when we're playing a stupid amount of goals, or during the Christmas period, should I say, when we played a stupid amount of games, in such a short period of time, that was going to happen. That was bound to happen. Obviously, Marco Silva, maybe he mightn't know his best starting 11 yet. I dare say it's because one week Yerry Mina has a fantastic game, and the next week you think, you need to come off the team, mate. Do you know what I mean? But it's that sort of contrast, and that's the decision that Marco Silva has to make. For me, I think Mina and Zuma played well on Saturday. Granted, the opposition wasn't Premier League opposition. I think, Michael Keane's been fantastic this season as well, so he's got a decision to make at centre-half. I agree with what you're saying about Ademola Lookman as well. Obviously, we don't shoot enough, like I said, and we need to get into the right areas, and we just need to have a shot, because 9 times out of 10, if you have a shot and it goes the right way, it might even take a dodgy deflection and it goes in, but you're not going to score if you don't shoot. And the way that we've looked to have tried to play sometimes this season, in the passing the ball, sideways, passing it backwards and trying to pass it into the goal, sometimes it just doesn't work, and you just need to go route one, which is just shoot and hope that one of them goes in. And 9 times out of 10, if you get a decent connection on one and it goes on target, it's troubling the goalkeeper. Ian also says, thought Baines was man of the match. Yeah, I thought Baines was absolutely fantastic. Like I said, for me, it was Lookman, just because I think it was so refreshing to see him. But Leighton Baines is wonderful. We don't have to say anything good about Leighton Baines, because it's all been said before. He's an absolutely fantastic professional. He's a fantastic footballer. He's a blue through and through. I love him. He's more than capable of stepping into this team and doing a job in it. I think that's really important that we've got that on that left-hand side, because I think when you looked at the team sheet on Saturday, nobody really looked at that left-back position and went, Baines is in, Digne's not playing. People looked at it, and that's massive for me, because Luca Dean has been one of our best players this season, if not our best player. He's probably been the best signing that Marco Silva's made this season. So when you look at a team and he's not in it, and you don't go, oh shit, Dean's not in it, that shows that the person coming in, the replacement, aka Baines, is equally as good, or maybe not equally as good in terms of their level, but is good enough to step up and play in a game like this. And he was. I thought he was brilliant. He's top professional, and if we can somehow get Dean and Baines playing in the same team, I don't know how that would happen. There's been a couple of rumours about Leighton Baines playing through the centre to midfield. If we can have that happen, that'll be absolutely fantastic. But I agree with you. I thought Leighton Baines was wonderful against Lincoln on Saturday, of course. So yeah, obviously 2-0 up, cruising, 20 minutes in. Bernard gets a nice goal as well. Fantastic chip, good play, triangle play by Sigurdsson, Calvert-Lewin, and then to Bernard, and Bernard coolly finishes it. I was actually sitting in the park end behind the goal, and I thought he chipped it to the side, and I thought, oh my god, this kid is never going to score for Everton. And next minute the net's bulging, and he's celebrating with his mates who were in the little box in the park end. Absolutely made up for Bernard. What a fantastic goal. And at that point I thought we were cruising in the game, and you're looking, and Calvert-Lewin has that chance obviously, and we could have gone 3-0 up, and you're looking and you're going, okay, this is going to be quite a convincing victory. This is going to be one that you can say, okay, maybe the opposition weren't fantastic, maybe it's Lincoln and we have to take it with a pinch of salt, but at the end of the day, we've won this convincingly. Hopefully we'll take that momentum and that form into the Premier League games. But it wasn't like that, was it? Let's be honest. What happened in the game? What happened that changed the game? What happens in every Everton game that changes the game is that we concede a set piece, a ball comes into the box, and we concede the goal. And that's that's becoming an issue for me now, because I'm really starting to get annoyed at the fact that every time we give a free kick away on the edge of the box, or every time we give a corner away, you know, my head's in my hands and I'm just thinking, we're conceding here. Again, ball comes into the box. I think it's a header by a Lincoln player. Jordan Pickford makes a good save, and there's 3 Lincoln players standing around with absolutely nothing to do other than put the ball in the back of the net. And that's so poor for me. Jordan Pickford isn't to blame on this one. I've seen a couple of tweets here and there saying, well, should Pickford have done better? The ball gets headed towards him and he makes a good save. You know, at the end of the day, he should be able to rely on his defenders, and his midfielders to have picked up every single player in that box. Now, look, I understand the argument for zonal marking. Some people think it works, some people think it doesn't work, some people think that it does work, but you know, the players just aren't good enough to play it. For me, I think there's been times this season that it has worked. I think there's been times this season that it hasn't worked. I just think the overall issue for me isn't zonal marking, it isn't man-to-man marking, it's just players' concentration for me. And listen, I'm not a professional footballer, I'm not a professional coach, so I don't know how these things are coached. I don't know how Marco Silva discusses zonal marking with the team every single day. But for me, if a ball comes into the box and I see a man free and he's this much out my zone, I'm going to mark him. I don't, and there's especially with the way we zonal mark, because it seems like the way we mark, and I was watching it when Lincoln had a couple of corners at the Park Enders, we have sort of 3 or 4 players within the same tiny radius, and I'm not saying they're all in the same zone, obviously they're in different zones, but they're very, very close to each other. So if you're standing in a zone and you've got a player very, very close to you who might be in another zone, but then you look behind you and there's a free man standing behind you, just go and pick him up and say, hey, just cover a little bit more of the zone for me there. And I think if we do that, we automatically, you know, we narrow down on these type of situations where players are standing in the box, 3 Lincoln players are standing in the box with absolutely acres of space, acres of time to put the ball in the net, and our defenders are looking at each other going, well, whose man was that? Whose zone was that? Who are them 3? And I think it's just really poor. And again, it's another goal conceded from a set piece where you're sitting there and you're thinking, Jesus Christ, is this ever going to end? Are we ever going to be able to defend set pieces properly? Are we ever going to be able to, the opposition have a corner and we go, oh, you know what, it's alright that is a corner. It goes out for a corner these days and you think, just may as well just score from the shot that you had, mate, because this is inevitably going in. And I think that's really poor for me. And that was where the game changed for me. That was where the momentum dropped. That was where the heads dropped. That was where the confidence went that way, because I think that was where it didn't all go wrong, because we went on to win the game ultimately and we still controlled the game possession wise, but I think that was where our heads dropped, and that was where we didn't want to attack, that was where we didn't want to, you know, shoot, that was where we didn't want to get the ball and play it in nice intricate movements and get it through to your Calvert-Lewins, get it through to Cenk Tosun when he come on. And I think that's where it's gone wrong the majority of this season, is when something has happened. And I've said this previously, I've said it time and time again, said it on the previews of this game, I've said it on reviews before as well. When something like that happens, our edge just drop. And I think if we'd have been playing, again, no disrespect to Lincoln, but if we'd have been playing a Premier League opposition maybe, or an opposition that had a little bit more quality up front in their forward line, then we'd have been made to pay. You know, they nearly scored in the last minute, only for a Richarlison header off the line. They've been 2-2 in it, they've gone to a replay at their ground, and I think that is becoming an issue, and I wanted to talk about it because I don't necessarily think it's an issue for Marco Silva. I don't necessarily think this is Marco Silva's problem. I think, you know, you can coach zonal marking, you can coach defending, but at the end of the day, players switching off at the vital minute and losing that concentration when it really matters, you can't really coach it. You can't coach midfielders and defenders standing in the box just going, what's happened there, and the 3 Lincoln players standing in front of them on side, being able to put the ball in the back of the net. You can't coach that, and that's why it's very frustrating for me. I've seen a lot of people out for Silva's head on Twitter, even after the win. For me, listen, we just have to take the positives in everything. It wasn't a pretty performance, it wasn't a fantastic performance, but look, we're into the 4th round of the FA Cup. If we get a nice easy draw in the next round, maybe we get a home draw against another sort of team from a lower league, we get through them, we're in the 5th round, then all of a sudden Wembley's on the horizon, and we, you know, we've gone from having a season where you're thinking not much is going to happen to the season where you're thinking, okay, we could potentially get to Wembley here and have a decent FA Cup run, and who knows, even go on and win it. And I'll say this now, and I'll stick with it: if Everton win the FA Cup this season, it's been a success. no matter where we finish in the Premier League, whether, obviously finishing 16th, 15th, whatever, that's not acceptable. But if we finish within that top 11, top 10 and win the FA Cup, that's acceptable for me. Because Marco Silva's done what no other Everton manager has done in my lifetime. And I'm 20 years old. So for me, that's a success. I know a lot of people that were alive in the 80s when they seen us when we were the best team in the world will probably think, no, that's not a success. But for me, that is a success. And I think Ian makes a good point there. What you have to realise is that a lot of these players aren't Marco Silva signings. They're not players that Marco Silva has brought in. I have this argument constantly with Everton fans, with Liverpool fans. If you look at the players Marco Silva's brought in, Luca Dean has been a revelation, absolutely fantastic player, perfect replacement for Leighton Baines. Bernard has probably been our most creative player, absolutely class footballer. Obviously, the only issue we really had with him was his goal scoring ability. He's proved that he can score nice instant finishes on Saturday. Richarlison, maybe he's a little bit frustrating, maybe he spends some time on the floor. A lot of fans jumped on his back when he come on and he spent, his first 30 seconds on the floor, and then you realise after the game that he gets elbowed in the face and ends up losing a tooth, I think. Yerry Mina, okay, sometimes he's a bit hit and miss, but overall, in the air, he's a fantastic centre-half. Kurt Zuma, absolutely fantastic centre-half. Andre Gomez, what a wonderful footballer as well, and that's what we have to look at, and that's why I firmly stick by the fact that we need to give Marco Silva and Marcel Brands at least 2 or 3 transfer windows, maybe even 4, because if you look at the way we were left, and you look at how Ronald Koeman left Everton, and Sam Allardyce, more specifically Ronald Koeman, he left us 5 years down that way. He took us back 5 years. He really did. And I don't care what anybody says. That is the truth. He took us back 5 years. And it was never going to be a quick, easy fix for Marco Silva. It was never going to be Marco Silva coming in and just going, bish, bash, bosh, first 4 months, we've won everything. And that's it. It takes time. These things take time. And we really have to be patient with it. And for those saying, he's not the right man this, he's not the right man that, look at the signings he's brought in and then tell me that he's not the right man. Look at the signings he's brought in and tell me one of them that you go, but that was an absolutely awful signing, what a flop. None of them so far. None of them. For me, I think players need to step up and do a bit more for the team. I think too many games this season, or recently, sorry, not this season, we've seen Gylfi Sigurdsson strolling around the pitch, not doing much. Again, against Lincoln, I said it in the game preview, I said it in my instant match reaction to this game. Gylfi Sigurdsson should have looked like bleeding Maradona on Saturday. He should have been creating everything. He should have been dictating the midfield. He should have been passing the ball left, right, creating chances for the attackers, giving it to the wingers, and he didn't. He stood round for the majority of the game. I know he was involved in the 2 goals, but other than that, he wasn't involved at all, especially after they scored their goal. He wasn't really involved. Adissa Garnagay, for me, I really like him. I think he's a really good footballer, and I think he does a job that not many footballers do, and we'll talk about him more on Wednesday, obviously, when we talk about the transfers. He's heavily being linked with a transfer to PSG, but for me, he didn't do enough. He couldn't pass a ball 5 yards against the side in League 2, and that's no disrespect to Lincoln, that's no disrespect to say, they aren't a good side, but if you've got a Premier League midfielder, they need to be able to pass the ball. That's route 1 of football. You need to be able to pass the ball 5 yards, and sometimes Adissa Garnagay cannot do that, and that's the poor element. For me, it's a mentality issue with these players. It is. Once something happens like that, it shows that these players aren't motivated to think, okay, we've conceded the goal there, or a little mistake's happened, let's forget about it and go on and carry on how we were playing and keep attacking. We don't. We go, oh, we've conceded there, what's going to happen now? And then in turn, we end up, either conceding again, or the game becomes really, really flat because we look scared to do anything else, and that's a mentality issue. How much of an issue is that for Marco Silva? Yes, he needs to speak to the players. Yes, that's a conversation he needs to have with the team, with the dressing room. But for me, the players need to step up and take some responsibility for these performances. Not obviously this one specifically, because we got through, we won, we're in the next round of the FA Cup, let's not be too negative, but the performances recently over the Christmas period, I think the players need to step up and go, okay, maybe I didn't do enough in that game, maybe I did hard a little bit, and that includes Richarlison. I love Richarlison, he's come in this season, he's been fantastic, and he does get kicked every single game, but I think some games he does spend a little bit too much time on the floor when maybe he doesn't need to, and maybe he could say, okay, I'll stand up and just get on with this one, and I'm take it on the chin, because I'm not going to get anything from these referees, because the referees are absolutely awful in this league. Ian says, before your time, but Baines is so good, he could have played with the Jam. Yeah, that is before my time, but he is. He's a fantastic footballer. He is top professional, top Evertonian, and absolutely class footballer as well. Your boy says, I would love to win the FA Cup. Yeah, me too, mate. That would absolutely be fantastic. Ian says, took Kendall 3 years to begin the glory years of the 80s, and he nearly got sacked. Sorry to monopolise the chat. I'll shut up now. No, mate, don't shut up by any means. It's, you know, this is a fan channel. Like I said, this is for you guys as much as it is for me. You get put on everything that you want in the chat. If you want to sit there and comment, you know, every 2 seconds, you do it. This is as much for you guys as it is for me, and I absolutely love hearing all your comments and listening and discussing the topics as well, because you brought another brilliant topic up there, Ian. You know, it takes managers time. Do you think that, you know, look at the greatest managers in the world, do you think they come in and it was an instant fix? No. If you look at any manager that's come into any club in Wales football and the club has been in a serious situation, they haven't fixed it like that. And there'll be the obvious people who go, Zidane, Real Madrid weren't in a rut. They were winning league titles anyway. They were winning Champions Leagues anyway. Look at any manager in Wales football that has come into a team that are really rock bottom and in the first 5-6 months gone, right, champions of England, champions of the world. No, it doesn't happen. We need to give Marco Silva and Marcel Brands time, and I understand the frustration, and I understand people saying sometimes he's tactically naive. Why isn't this substitution made? Why isn't this player coming on? Why isn't Lookman starting this, that? I understand that, but what you have to realise is that Marco Silva will be seeing this as a managerial point, and he'll be thinking, okay, maybe I'm not going to bring Ademola Lookman on in this game because maybe I'm going to rest him and play him in the next 5 or 10 games and not take him off the pitch. So maybe we don't have to bring him on. Maybe he's looking at it going, okay, I'm not going to give Cenk Tosun a go here because I'm looking to send him out on loan. I'm looking to, you know, to sell him in January. So I'm going to keep him fit so that he doesn't get any unnecessary injuries. You have to think of it like that, and I think we absolutely do have to give Marco Silva and Marcel Brands time. And I think, don't get me wrong, I've said it before, I'll say it again, don't expect much from this January transfer window. I know there's been a lot of rumours about Barrios, about Malcolm, about, you know, numerous other players as well, but don't be surprised if not much business is done in January. Don't, because let's be honest, the best business isn't done in January because teams charge over the odds for players, and, you know, you end up signing an okay footballer for a lot of money. And, you know, you do your best business in January, the summer, not January. And Marcel Brands has already specified that he will not pay over the odds for any player, even the players that he's worked with in the past. Hervé Lozano, massive example. He's already said, yeah, Lozano's a class player, but if they want more than 25 million for him, I'm not signing him because I've got better over here for 25 million. And that's so important and that's so refreshing to hear for me from Marcel Brands, because that means that we're not going to go out and splash 45 million, 50 million on a player that maybe isn't all that good, you know, and we're going to sign players that fit into this team. We're not going to sign individuals, and that's what we've been guilty of doing in recent years. Reasons 8 says, agreed, I don't think Silva and Brands would have looked twice at our signings before then. Exactly, and that's a really good point, and that's a point I wanted to bring into this video as well. I was having this discussion in the pub yesterday, on Saturday afternoon, and I said, listen, I love Gylfi Sigurdsson. I just want to say that before anybody gets the wrong impression. I love him. I think he's a fantastic footballer. I think for the majority of this season, he's been an absolutely fantastic footballer. I think in recent weeks, he's slacked a little bit and he needs to pick himself back up and dust himself back off. But I was having this conversation. I said, do you think Marcel Brands had messed about for a week over £2 million for Gylfi Sigurdsson? And everyone went, no. I said, do you think Marcel Brands had paid 45 million for Gylfi Sigurdsson? And people went, actually, probably not. Exactly. And I'm not saying Gylfi's not worth that. I'm not saying we shouldn't have signed Gylfi. I'm not saying it was a mistake. What I'm saying is that Marcel Brands will not look at individual players in this league and go, I'm going to sign him and I'm going to throw loads of money at him and I'm going to sign him because he's the best player at, you know, Burnley. He's the best player at Brighton. He's the best player at Leicester. That's not going to happen. That isn't going to happen, and that's fantastic that that's not going to happen, because that means we're not going to sign individuals, and that means players aren't going to be coming in that we've just looked at and gone, you're decent. The only players that are going to be coming in are players that can benefit the team and players that are going to be able to fit into our system and the way Marco Silva plays, and that's really, really important. Reason says, what do you think has happened to Davis? The lad looks completely lost, but when he first broke through, he looked like a great prospect. It's a really good question. It's a really good point for me. Again, Tom Davis was one of them that didn't take his opportunity on Saturday. I think Tom Davis, I think Cenk Tosun, I think Calvert-Lewin as well, but I'll give Calvert-Lewin a bit of slack because he's played recent weeks in the Premier League and he's played really, really well as well. I think the issue with Dominic Calvert-Lewin at the minute is he's just probably not quite ready. He's not the striker that we need. He's not the striker that, you know, we're going to look at next season to be on number 9 for the whole season. But I still think he's a very, very good player with a lot of potential, and obviously he's played a lot of games in recent weeks in the Premier League, so let's cut Dom a little bit of slack. For me, Cenk Tosun didn't take his opportunity. Tom Davis didn't take their opportunity. I think even when you look at the likes of, you know, Gay should have looked fantastic against this team, and he really didn't. And I think that's massively important, of course, to look at. I think with Tom Davis, I'm not too sure. Maybe playing with Morgan Schneiderlin has had an effect on him, and I don't mean that in a negative way to Morgan. I just mean the way Morgan Schneiderlin plays, the way, he likes to do a pirouette every time he gets the ball and go backwards. Maybe that's had a negative effect on Tom Davies playing next to him, thinking, so what Tom Davies has done is he's gone from an attacking young centre midfielder that's thinking, I've got nothing to lose here, I'm just going to go forward, like he did against Manchester City, and he's looked at who's next to him and he's gone, actually, maybe I should play a little bit more like that. Maybe I should be a little bit more discreet. Maybe I should turn backwards and look for a pass backwards before I go forward. I don't know. That's just a punt in the dark. That's just me going, maybe it's that. I really don't know. I think Tom is lacking confidence majorly at the minute, and I think what he needs is maybe he needs a loan. I wouldn't send him on loan in January if he is going to be loaned. I'd wait until the summer, and I'd wait until maybe we'd sign another midfielder or two to the point where we can afford maybe sending Tom on loan to another Premier League club. But I think he probably just needs a little bit more game time. He needs a little bit more confidence. He needs to have an arm around him, I think, Tom Davies, and he needs to be told that he is a really good footballer, because he is. He's a Premier League footballer. Let's be honest. Some people will argue with that, but for me, he is a good footballer. He is. Let's be honest. I think he probably just needs to be told, look, you're going to be in and out the team. You'll be playing here and there, but when you get these opportunities, you need to start him up, and he didn't. And I don't quite know what's going on. I'd like to say it's just a lack of confidence, because I don't want to sit here and say he's not good enough, because I think he is good enough. He's probably not good enough to play week in, week out in the Premier League for Everton, because we've already seen how good, Andre Gomez is, and the fact that Tom Davies isn't on that level. But, like I said, I'm not exactly entirely sure what's going on with Tom at the minute. You can just only guess that it's maybe a lack of confidence, or the fact that, he's been playing next to somebody that plays so negatively, and it's had an effect on him with him being so young as well. So yeah, for me, just to summarise this game, like I said, we weren't fantastic. We should have been a lot better. I expected a lot more from Cenk Tosun when he come on. Don't think he done enough at all. I think he's probably a player that will leave the club, if not in January, in the summer. I don't want him to. I love Cenk Tosun. I think he's an absolutely top guy, but is he good enough? I don't know. We'll leave that one down to Marco Silva and Marcel Brands. I don't think Tom Davies took his opportunity. I don't think Dominic Calvert-Lewin took a hold of his opportunity as well. And like I said, other than the players that you look at and go, maybe you should have took your opportunity, there's also players in there as well that should have looked world class against Lincoln, and they didn't. Gay, Sigurdsson, to name them. I think the only two players that you look at and you go, okay, you had a really good game, was the likes of Lookman and Bernard as well. And I think Zuma at centre half done himself well, and obviously Leighton Baines, but you're going to get that from Leighton Baines every single game as well. So yeah, for me, got to stay positive. Like I said, hopefully we can take momentum into the next couple of games. We've got a lot of winnable games in the Premier League now. We really, really have. Got Bournemouth at home, obviously, on Sunday. So hopefully we can take this win into that one. We weren't fantastic, but hopefully the confidence builds from this win. We get a little bit of momentum, and who knows, we might even go on, get the 3 points against Bournemouth, and then push on from there. But we're in the act for the FA Cup 4th round draw tonight. Like I said, it takes place around 9:30 after Liverpool play Wolverhampton Wanderers. So we basically know everybody that we're going to be playing, with the exception of Wolves, who will inevitably be in there tonight as well. No, I'm only messing. I'm not going to jinx that. But let me know in the comments who you would like. If you're in the live chat now, let me know who you would like to play. Would you like a home draw? Would you like an away draw? If you're watching this as a video afterwards as well, let me know in the comments there as well. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. We've just hit 200 subscribers very recently, so thank you all very, very much for that. Like the video as well if you are enjoying it, and if you have enjoyed it, thank you all very, very much for the support. So I guess we'll speak a little bit about the transfers now just before we go. So the one that's surfaced over the last couple of days, sort of more than any, is Wilmar Barrios. He's currently playing for Boca Juniors in the Argentinian league. He is a Colombian midfielder, famously known for giving Jordan Henderson a little headbutt in the World Cup. Make of that what you will. That might make him a little bit of a fan favourite already before he's even signed the contract. But yeah, he has been heavily rumoured to a move to Everton. There's been articles in the Argentinian newspapers of him saying bye-bye to the Boca Junior fans, him saying that, he's leaving, he's coming to Everton. He is rumoured to be joining for around 23 million euros, which I think is around 18 million pounds, something along them lines. He is a player that plays a little bit like Idrissa Gana Gueye. He is being touted to be the replacement for Gana Gueye. Obviously, moving on to that, Gana Gueye is heavily rumoured to be joining PSG. Now, it did start with a little bit of a rumour that they were interested on him. It's now turned into a rumour that apparently Some are even saying that Garnagay has agreed personal terms with PSG. Everton are saying that we will not sell for anything under £40 million, and they are saying that they're not willing to pay anything over sort of £20 million apparently. So yeah, we'll have to see where that one goes. I think Barrios is a good player, definitely a player that Marcel Brands would be interested in. He likes the South American market. He likes to, you know, shop around there. He likes to search for players around there. Of course, Barrios will have a good connection with Yerry Mina, being Colombian, of course. And, you know, I think if he does come in, he'll definitely be a player that we can utilise. He'll definitely be a player that benefits our squad. Whether he comes in as a replacement for Idrissa Gana Gueye, I'm not too sure. He might just come in as a player that plays alongside Gueye, or a player that can come in when Gueye, you know, maybe needs a little bit of a break out of the team. But like I said, we'll be talking in depth about all of the transfer news, some news on Malcolm as well. We'll be talking about that in depth on Wednesday's live stream around 6:30 on the channel, so make sure you're around for that one. The Malcolm sort of latest is that a couple of journalists are saying that Malcolm has agreed to join, and that, you know, Everton are looking at the possibility of signing Malcolm on a loan deal. That would mean that Andre Gomes has to sign on a permanent deal, which isn't a bad thing, let's be honest. And, you know, there's also a couple of rumours that Barcelona are willing to accept a £25 million bid for Andre Gomes, which will be an absolute steal. But we'll have to see how they develop in the next couple of days, and like I said, we'll be back talking about them on Wednesday. That guy says, are you worried about Gueye leaving? I am, and I'm not. I am, because I think we need to replace him. Badly need to replace him. I think if we allow Idrissa Gana Gueye to leave Everton, we need to have two players to come in. We need to have a midfielder that can come in and you know, be the backup to a midfielder that is his replacement. And I think that midfielder that is his replacement needs to be someone like a Decore from Wolves. I know PSG are interested in him as well, but for me, he's an absolutely sort of fantastic replacement for Idrissa Gana Gueye if we can sign him. You know, he's strong, he's big, he does the dirty work like Gueye does, but he's also very, very good on the ball, and he's good going forward as well. For me, if we are looking to sell Gueye, I wouldn't be accepting anything under 40 million either, and I would be making sure that we've got a player lined up to come in the door as soon as Gueye leaves, or even before Gueye leaves, because he is a vital player to this squad. I think we could improve on him, because I think, you know, I love Idrissa Gana Gueye, but when you look at a player and you think, you know, you need to be able to pass a ball 5 yards, and if you've got a centre midfielder in your team and you're playing Premier League football that can't do that, there's always room for improvement. There's always room to say maybe we can improve on him next season or in the summer. But for me, I think he's a really, really important player to Everton. I think he's a very, very good player, but I'm at the view of that if he doesn't want to play for Everton, there's the door, mate. If he has agreed personal terms with PSG and he's done that behind our back and he's saying, I don't want to be here anymore, then go to that. We can always improve on him. It won't be the end of the world, I guess is what I'm trying to say. However, personally, I would like to keep him. If he's willing to stay, I would like to keep him, because I think he is a very good footballer. He just needs to improve on his passion element of his game and his going forward as well. Ian says 90 million for Solanke, Ghana at least 40. Exactly. The transfer market these days, the money getting banded about is absolutely ridiculous. How he's gone for 90 million is beyond me. Your boy says if we get a good replacement for Ghana he goes for a good price, I would be okay with it. Exactly, that's what I mean. It's all about getting somebody in that can replace him. It's all about getting somebody in that can do that job and do it better than Gana Gueye, and somebody that can also offer us a little bit more in that midfield as well. And I think there's players that can do that, but like I said, Ghana is such an important player to Everton Football Club that we can't just let him go and not have anybody come in to replace him. Reason says Ghana is worth 40 million in a Jan transfer window, but replacement needs to be able to pass and tackle. Exactly, yeah, 100%. Like I said, Ghana is worth a lot more than what PSG are willing to pay for him. He is. That's just the be all and end all of it. But I think, you know, the important thing to realise is that if he doesn't want to play for Everton and we can bring somebody in that can replace him, then, you know, why not sell, let's be honest, especially if it's a good enough deal. Mitchell says it took Klopp 4 windows to establish depth at Liverpool. I think Silva needs the same. Quite obvious the Blues struggling to rotate quality with quality. Exactly, that's what I mean. You know, you look at any top manager, Jurgen Klopp's a fantastic example. They're top of the league now and they're playing some fantastic football, and a lot of Evertonians will look and go, yeah, but look at what Liverpool are doing. But not a lot of Evertonians sit and go, yeah, but they're 4 years in. When Jurgen Klopp took them over, he finished 8th in the league. It's took them 4 years to build and build and build and build. So let's give Marco Silva his time and Marcel Brands their time to build and build and build. You're exactly right. They're struggling to replace quality with quality, and that's exactly right. You know, if Andre Gomes comes out the team you're replacing him with Tom Davies. Now, I really like Tom Davies. I think he's a good footballer, but he's nowhere near the level of Andre Gomes for me. He can't do what Gomes can do. He's not as composed on the ball as Gomes is, and he's not as experienced as Gomes is, and that automatically means there's quite a drop in class. I think Tom can still do a job there, but not at the level that Andre Gomes can do, and that's something that we need to find. But anyway, that is going to do it for this live team. Thank you everybody in the live comments. Thanks everybody for commenting. If you have enjoyed the live team, please do leave a like. If you're watching this as a video afterwards, leave your comments in the comment section down below. What do you think on the Idrissa Gana Gueye rumours? Do you think that would you let Idrissa Gana Gueye go? Would you sell him? If so, how much would you sell him for? Would you accept 20 million? Would you accept 40 million? Would you just say no outright? He's not going. He's an Everton player. He's vital to this squad, and I don't want to sell him. Let me know your thoughts on Ademola Lookman's performance against Lincoln. Do you think he was as good as I do? Do you think he should now get a run of games in the Premier League? Let me know what you thought about Bernard's cheeky finish as well. Thanks to everybody watching live. Of course, if you have enjoyed the stream, please do leave a like rating. It massively means a lot to me. That doesn't make sense. It means a lot to me, should I say. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. It literally takes a second. We'll be streaming again on Wednesday. Like I said, we'll be talking about the transfer rumours in massive depth on Wednesday, so make sure you're around the channel around 6:30, 7 o'clock on Wednesday to talk about them. I didn't want to touch on it too much today because, like I said, we're going to be talking about it in full depth on Wednesday, talking about Gueye, talking about Barrios, talking about Malcolm as well. Hopefully we've got a little bit more substance to these rumours as well on Wednesday, so we can, talk a little bit more in depth about them. But anyway, that is going to do it for this live team. Thank you all very, very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Twitter at MightyBluesYT if you haven't already. Don't forget to be on BBC One at 9:30 today to see the FA Cup 4th round draw. See you Everton draw in the next round. Just missed a comment there. Ian says home draw against Wolves. I think that'll be a decent draw as well. I think we're more than capable of beating Wolverhampton, especially at home. So that will be a decent draw for me. Let me know who you want in the next round of the FA Cup in the comment section down below, as well as let me know your thoughts on the Lincoln game. How do you think we performed? And are you just happy that we won the game? And are you just happy that hopefully we can take some momentum into the next couple of games now? But anyway, that is going to do it for me. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully, like I said, we can take this momentum into the next couple of games, into the next Premier League games, and hopefully we get a decent draw tonight and we can go and have a really, really good FA Cup run this season, because that's what's needed, let's be honest. Ian says, nice one, bud. Thank you very much, Ian, for all your input in today's team, as well as everybody else. But that is going to do it for me. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.